Hello everyone! I am so excited because I finally have my pansies to blanket my raised beds, which I've been planning to do for at least a month now, but they weren't in stock yet at the garden center since they all are, more spring and fall flowers. So I was calling Gethsemane Garden Center every Wednesday for the past few Wednesdays because that's when they get their new stock in, and they finally had pansies. So let me show you what I got and I'll walk around and show you where they're gonna go, and then we'll go ahead and do it. Oh, and at the end, I will show you how I press the flowers and talk about some of the things I use them for over the winter. These are the pansies I got. Now, when I got them, I felt like it was definitely enough for what I want, but I always feel like when I actually start planting, I realize I could have fit more in there, so we'll see how far these stretch. But I got a whole flat of the Matrix True Blue. So these are a very powdery kind of periwinkle blue color. Then I got a whole flat of Mammoth Sangria Punch. These are kind of like a maroon, lighter maroon on the outside, deeper on the inside with a little bit of yellow in the center. So those are the only like two flats, and my plan is to put one flat in its own raised bed to create a blanket of one singular color. And then, because I want to have different options for the colors of pansies I press, I just got a few different mixes. So this one, they actually didn't have a whole flat. I wish they did, but it's kind of like a true red, which I feel like I don't see a lot of. And I thought this would be really great for any Christmas themed things I might want to make. I have the white with the purple centers. I have my black, which I love. And this one is a little bit more ruffly. And this was actually a Halloween 4-pack. So the other ones, which the blooms are kind of on the way out right now, are orange. So those are all the pansies that I have. Now, as far as where they're gonna go, I'm thinking the blue ones will go in here. Because the salvia, I mean, it's more purple, but it's like a bluish purple. But then most of the other flower colors are the warm colors, reds, oranges, pinks. So I thought the blue as the blanket here would be a really nice contrast. And then the Mammoth Sangria Punch, I think, is gonna go in this raised bed with Bob. Bob's head is still over there. I need to clean that up. And this is what Bob is looking like right now. So in the bed, I have the Rudbeckia, Verbena, one Dahlia, and I think that's it. Now this soil level is also a little bit low, but because there are other plants in there, I'm not gonna do anything about it. So I'm still gonna blanket it with the pansies. As far as the other ones, so the ones that are in the smaller packs, I think I'm gonna put some in front of the peas here, which, by the way, here they are. They're starting to get to the point where they're reaching the first layer of twine. So I'll kind of tuck them up. They should start to grab on, and then I will continue to add twine as they grow. But those are all doing really well. I don't know if I really have much other space to add pansies, so I might have to put everything there. And then just another update, here are my radishes. So my radishes I did thin out, desperately needed to do that. My beets I still need to thin out more, but they are a little bit smaller in the back there, but those are doing great. And then of course my wood sorrel just growing out of the crack still. Now the first thing I need to do to start planting is clear out some weeds and other things in my center raised bed. Now I did sow 3 different mounds of broccoli, and the only broccoli plant I currently see is that one right there. There's this mound, which definitely doesn't look like broccoli. I don't know what it is, so if this looks familiar to you, I did do the Google reverse image search. It turned up a bunch of different things, probably because it's just the leaf shape right now. I did not sow that. I'm kind of tempted just to leave it and see what happens, but I do have some other weeds that I'm just gonna pull. Oh, I do have radishes in here because I can't leave spaces empty. I don't think most of the radishes have actually formed the radish yet, so I'm still gonna pull them anyway. I'll eat whatever is there of the root. I will eat the leaves because I need to get these out of the bed. So maybe we'll do that first. I'll get the radishes, get this cleaned out, and then we will get to planting. I have my basket here to put the radishes in, and I'm realizing near the end of the season that in front of this raised bed are my roses. Behind it is my raspberry bush. And maybe it's not the best idea to put these things covered with thorns in front of the bed you need to lean into to work in. So I will probably move these somewhere else next year. And again, I don't know if I'm gonna have my raspberries next year. So right now, pulling out the radishes, no matter how small they still are. But like I said, you can eat the greens on these. So all of these are coming out with me. Let's see if any of them, okay, let's not eat the weed, but let's see if any of them even have good sized radishes at all. I don't remember how long ago I sowed these, but radishes usually have a pretty quick days to harvest. There's some in here. There's one in here. You know, when I was throwing the seeds in here, I told myself they're not gonna have enough time to actually turn into radishes. Oh, that's not bad, look at that. Okay, that's exciting. And yet, I went ahead and put them in here anyway. Actually, here's another group of some that are pretty good. Ooh, ooh. Okay, not quite as exciting as I thought, but still, a little bit of radish on those. And here's what I've ended up with. So again, mostly greens, but there's some that are kind of radish shaped in there. Now I do still have some biotone, so I think I am going to sprinkle this into the bed before I plant. Usually for fall planting, it's such a short season that I really don't add anything, but one of the reasons I'm planting my pansies is because last year they came back, and I don't mean they reseeded. I mean the pansies that I planted in the fall, our winter was so mild compared to the average in Chicago that the leaves stayed green and then they started flowering again in the spring. So I didn't have to get any new pansies, which was fantastic. Now, you can never guarantee what's gonna happen with Chicago winter. I don't know how cold we are supposed to be, but I do know we're supposed to have more snow, which means more insulation for the plants. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the reason I'm kind of going more pansy heavy than I normally do. Well, that and it'll look pretty, but if I can get all of these or even some of them to live through the winter and come back, I will be so happy. We'll do the biotone sprinkle first, just kind of taking handfuls and tossing them around. I'm not going to worry about breaking it in because when I plant the pansies, that will also help move the biotone down into the soil. So again, I'm going to do the Matrix True Blue. It is precariously balancing on a corner of this bed, which is probably not a good idea. So wait to see if it falls or not. But I'm just gonna put them in here. I think I have 8 containers of 8 containers of 32, 8 containers of 4, which would be 32 total. And I'm not gonna be too precious about placement or anything like that. I'm just gonna kind of stick them in whatever open space is available. I'll start by spreading them more around and then fill in any other spots. But I feel like I put in one and I'm like, no, I should have gotten a lot more than this. Yeah, I need to move this before it falls over. Here it is, and I think I love it. Now these are, again, 32 of the True Blue Matrix. Could I have squeezed in more? Definitely, but I think I got pretty good coverage in this bed from the 32 that I have. So that gives me hope for the other bed because that's a little bit smaller, and I also have 32 for it. So I'm now gonna do the exact same thing in that bed with the sangria pansies. So I'm not gonna bore you by watching me plant pansies again. It's gonna be the same process. Sprinkle in the biotone, plant the pansies, and then I'll probably look around and just decide for sure where I want to plant the random mix. And then we'll be done with this part and I'll show you how I harvest and press them. Here's this bed full of the Mammoth Sangria Punch. Now I did just water them, so they might look a little bit flattened, but this bed is definitely full. So I'm excited to see these as they even fill in a little bit more. So 2 beds down, 1 section left to go. And I'm going to put all the rest of them. So 4 of the white and purple, 2 of the black, 2 of the orange, 4 of the red, all in a line in front of my peas. And just like that, they're planted. Now I did realize that the Halloween pack actually had 3 black and 1 orange. So we'll be a little bit off balance, but I think we'll survive. So that is everything planted. Now that the pansies are planted, the next thing I'm gonna do is cut some of the flowers off, because pansies are cut and come again. So the more flowers you harvest, the more flowers the plants will produce. So I'm going to not only remove any that look like they're on their way out, and then I will just get rid of those, but any that look good, I'm gonna take some so that I can press them. So maybe I'll show you again quickly how they look before I start cutting them, and then we'll start cutting them. So in this bed, for example, I would definitely take a flower like this to press, because that's kind of in its prime. Any like this one where the leaves are starting to curl, I will deadhead and I will take it all the way down the stem. You can actually use these in bouquets as well, because they do have a pretty good stem length. I have my tray for the flowers. I have scissors because I find scissors work better than pruners on the smaller stems of these. So for the ones I'm going to keep to press, I will put them in that basket. For any that I'm just deadheading, honestly, when I deadhead these, I just toss them back in the bed to let them break down. And again, you do want to do this, even though it might be hard to remove some of the color at the time, but this is going to encourage the plant to produce more blooms. Well, I only harvested just those few because it's almost dinner time, so I need to head back inside, but this is the flower press I use. I just found it on Amazon. You could probably easily make one yourself. I got this one because it was pretty, and I did have intentions of painting the flowers on here, so maybe I'll actually do that this winter, but it's pretty easy to use. You unscrew it, take it off. There is some paper and cardboard in here for the pressing, so I got this a couple years ago with the paper it came with. Then I bought more paper to put in here so that I could press even more. And you can see there's still a good amount of the screw left, so I could add even more paper and make it even thicker. But this is good for now, so what we're going to do is open this, which always means I'm going to be surprised by whatever I pressed last and then forgot about. So we'll open this up, see if anything is in there, and then I will get these inside. So you just take these off, you make sure you don't lose them. And while I'm opening this, I'm trying to think if there are any other general updates. I haven't seen the pigeons today, which is making me nervous, because normally they're out here to greet me every morning. Sometimes they'll show up in the evening like it is now, sometimes they won't, but I haven't seen them today. And there are hawks nearby that prey on pigeons. So I'm a little nervous, but I think I'll be okay. And then also, Invisalign update. So it's been about a month now, and I've realized Invisalign has changed a little bit about gardening. Basically, more things make it down to the kitchen, because I can no longer just pick a raspberry or a tomato and pop it in my mouth. So more produce actually makes it down to the kitchen, all thanks to Invisalign. So we have this open. Just take the lid off, and then let's see. Usually I'll start at the bottom. Ooh, okay. Oh my, okay. There are pansies in here. And I don't remember the last time I had pansies in the garden, except for last spring. So it has been a while. So let's go ahead and just take the paper and gently, because they are delicate and can tear, take them off, and I will set them into this basket. Now I probably don't do everything the way you're supposed to. Like, I think you're probably supposed to change the paper in here more often than I do, but as long as it's still pressing the flowers, I mean, it's not like I'm pressing flowers for anything professional. So if the flowers aren't completely perfect or they fly away, then it's not that big of an issue. But if you are doing something professional and want to make sure the flowers are clean and pressed the best way possible, you probably want to change your paper more often than I do. Yeah, I honestly, I can't remember when I harvested these, because again, it had to have been months and months ago. I don't do a lot of pressing because there's not really a lot that I press from the summer garden, or maybe I'm just too busy making bouquets at that point in time. But pansies are one of my favorite to press. Typically the thinner the flower, the petals, the easier it is to press, but I've seen people press some pretty thick flowers as well. But I just don't do, like I don't press my zinnias or my dahlias or my gomphrena, or what else am I looking at? Any of my sunflowers. I don't press any of those flowers, which is, although I could press the impatiens. I should grab some of the impatiens to press in my next round before they start to get a little tired looking for the season. So pressing usually happens mostly in the spring and in the fall for me. And then I just store these by color in little, they're technically photo storage boxes, but I know a lot of people use them for seed storage, which I also use them for seed storage, but I thought they'd be perfect for pressed flower storage as well. Please don't blow away. Thank you. So I think that's everything I have in here right now. Oh, no, I have more. When did I press these? What? Who am I? I'm almost wondering if I even need to press any more pansies at this point. Look how pretty the color on that one is. It's the only one I have. I wish I had more. Well, I had to take in the basket with the dried flowers because they were starting to fly around the deck. So now I'm gonna press the fresh ones that I just harvested. I'm first gonna cut off the stem as close to the flower as I can, but you don't wanna cut off the part that's holding all the petals together, which I've done. So if you cut it too close, all the petals will fall apart, which, I mean, you can still press those and that works just fine. But I'm laying that face down, waiting for the wind. I enjoy a summer breeze, except for when it's blowing my flowers around. So I only have 5. I usually try to fill up the whole piece of paper, but I don't have time right now. But like I said, I think I'm gonna grab some of the impatiens because those will be really pretty just in my next round. What else can I grab? I'm trying to look around. I mean, I could harvest just some petals of a dahlia or petals of, not gomphrena. Oh, I could do, I think those would be, maybe I'll grab some of those right now, some of the black-eyed Susan vine in just a second. But let me lay these down first while the wind is a little bit quieter and calmer. I'm just gonna set this on top right now and grab some of the black-eyed Susans. Black-eyed Susan vine flowers. I grabbed these 4. They're really easy to take off, actually. I didn't even need the scissors. So now I'm just gonna pop these down. You also wanna make sure that the petals aren't touching, and they will, I mean, they'll get a little bit more flattened out once you press them, but if the petals are touching, they're going to dry together, and then they're going to be stuck together when you try to take them apart. But I think that's good. So I'm just filling up one piece of paper. I'm gonna put all this stack back on top, give it a little push. Then the cover goes back on. I try to line it up with all of the holes. And then you twist back down until it's tight, and that's going to dry them flat. So I'm doing like a quick twist right now, just getting these all down to where the top currently is, and then I will tighten them, because if I just leave them like this, then it's not actually going to be pressing the flowers, so they won't dry flat. I know they also have some microwave flower pressers that you're supposed to be able to put the flowers into the presser, microwave it, and then it presses them really quickly. I've never tried that, but like I said, those that I just took out were from months ago. That tends to be how my pressing process works. I press flowers, I forget I pressed flowers, and then I open it up and get a nice surprise. If I was using this and trying to like actually press them in a timely manner, I'd say probably give it a couple weeks, but you can just open it back up, see if they seem like they are dry and papery, and if so, then you can go ahead and take them out. And if not, I mean, if you opened it up to look at them and they're not, you just close it back up. So not a big deal, but I really, really enjoy pressed flowers. So what do I do with them? A few different things, and if there's anything else I should do, let me know. I definitely make cards. So I made our holiday cards last year with some pressed flowers. I decorate glass jars and use those as candle holders. I want to do a larger one this winter, and I have some videos where I've done this over the last winter, because that's usually when I'm most crafty, is when I don't want to go outside because it's way too cold. So you get lanterns. Something else new that I have this year is they're like glass frames that you can hang, and I'm going to do some pressed flowers in that and maybe put them on my dried flower Christmas tree. But I think those are the main things that I do with the pressed flowers. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. So if there's anything else that you do, let me know. And I also think I just heard the flap of a pigeon wing. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking. But that is going to be everything for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. And let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Where have you been? I was getting worried. You didn't come home this morning. You didn't tell me where you were. I think, so I've named 3 of them. I think this one is Oreo. I don't know where all of its friends are. Usually they travel in groups, so I will still be worried, but I'm glad that you showed up.